Okay, so we're interviewing Marcus Myers of Millar Electronics here on the show with us today. And so thanks for joining us, Marcus. And could you start off by giving us a little history about your experience in the pro audio field and how you got involved with the MyMix products?
Yes, absolutely. Going back as far as my time in high school, I had spent my years there playing in a rock and roll band.
Okay.
And then my senior year in high school, I joined a Christian band called Siler's Ball. And we played up until about 2006 all across the country. We were briefly on a record label called Essential Records with Jars of Clay and Third Day. And so we had a brief foyer in the Christian record industry, made one pretty exciting record called Real Life, and had a lot of fun traveling and touring with that. So my experience as it relates to MyMix began as an artist.
Okay.
So as I moved out of being an artist into working for a design build install firm in Nashville, I began doing audio and video and lighting design and also project management for the house of worship market or the church market. So
Gotcha.
From 2006 until about 2010, I was very involved in the church market, designing and building and installing systems for their performance, main worship rooms, youth rooms, and even some theaters here and there. So, you know, my experience with a product like MyMix moved from being an artist to actually using it in designs and implementing it into churches for their worship bands, praise bands, youth bands, and whatnot. So very familiar with Avium for many years, and also even some of our other competitors, but began to sell MyMix when I was with my previous employer in Nashville doing design build.
Okay.
About a year ago, I moved into working with Millar and have enjoyed representing MyMix and selling it to the many dealers and end users in the Southeast.
Wow. So definitely very qualified, to say the least, to kind of expound on this particular subject, especially as it relates to the church then. Give us a little history about Movec. Is that the name of the parent company?
Yes, it's actually called Movec, and it's simply the LLC for the MyMix branded product.
Okay.
So Movec designed MyMix around the perspective of the artist. So when you look at MyMix from the very beginning, from the very first moment you look at it, you view it as an artistic accessory rather than another piece of gear to try and understand and learn. It's very intuitive and very easy to understand immediately, both for the inexperienced artist as well as the very experienced engineer that's having to use it for the sound system. So it's a pretty unique product in that it's designed that way.
Right. Conceptually, what is the biggest difference in the approach of the design of the MyMix versus the other personal mixers out there?
The first thing they wanted to do in designing MyMix was, like I said, to make it very easy for the user. That was first and foremost. When you are an artist, you are very often considered to be working from your right brain, your creative, artistic side. And when you're on stage in a live scenario, you're being artistic, you're being creative, and the last thing you want to do when you notice something in your ears not the way you want it to be, the last thing you want to have to do is look down at a piece of gear, leave your right side artistic brain, and, you know, switch over to your left side, which is more technical. Change that setting, and then somehow switch back to your right side and get into the creative groove again. The whole focus of MyMix, first and foremost, was to keep the artist in the creative mindset. Because that truly is the most important for any live artistic scenario.
Right. Now, talk a little bit about your experience. You know, when you're touring with your band and so forth. Was personal mixers a norm then, or was it not pretty much developed yet, or what was your experience? How did you guys get your monitoring when you were touring?
When I played for all those years in the band, we would usually mix front of house or mix monitors from front of house.
Okay.
Probably the last 2 or 3 years we played, we had opportunities to use the house system when we would go play at a church or a theater. And oftentimes those house systems incorporated personal mixing, whether it be Avium. Really in that time frame, it was only Avium.
Right.
So we began to have the opportunity to use personal mixing very early on as it was introduced to the market.
Okay.
And the concept was phenomenal. Avium did a great job introducing it to the market, but officially they've not done a great job continuing to develop it as a flexing and moving and exciting product as it relates to personal mixing, because in fact it's still very technical. It has many limitations.
Right.
And as you'll see as we talk about MyMix, there are many things it does not do, and it does not give you the opportunity to do in your application.